Welcome back, everyone, to another LinkedIn Live. And our topic for this week is to expect the unexpected. Expect the unexpected. And one of the things that I find is that when people create process, they create processes as if it's the ideal situation, that everything upstream has happened exactly the way it's supposed to. And so now we're going to do the tasks of the process that the accountant has to do, or that the customer service person has to do, or that the operator has to do, or that the tooling development person has to do. We create processes in such a way that they're everything's supposed to happen as expected, that everything upstream happened. And now I just have to do my tasks and follow this sequence of events. And one of the things that I've learned by working for nearly 25 years in process is that processes rarely go the way they're supposed to go. One of my good friends often reminds me of the line from the movie Airplane, where it asks, "Should we turn on the runway lights?" And they say, "No, that's what they'd be expecting." Right? We have to create processes that enable our teams to expect the unexpected. So, what does this mean? How do we do this? Because if you just think about it, it's like, wow, that sounds overwhelming. But I want to make the detailed process step by step that's supposed to happen. The reality is that we need to stop treating processes as something specific that a person does in their role. There's no doubt that has to happen. Those things that a person's supposed to do in their role need to happen. But we also need to look at the overall system. We need to look at the handoffs that need to happen. We need to look at the inputs that come in. What's expected? What do I need to have in order to complete my process? And who do I get it from? And what's the output of my process? And who needs that from me? So I'll give an example. A distribution company I've been working with, they've got this struggle between the account representatives, the salespeople, and the folks in their customer service department, and going back and forth with, well, I need to have the right pricing. So I open up the purchase order from the client. The pricing's different than what's in the database. What do I do? The quantity doesn't look quite right. It looks like it's 2 times what it should be. It's 2 times normal. Are they actually ordering kits, or are they ordering individual components of kits? There's always these questions when customer service pulls it in and opens up what they're supposed to be looking at. We have to create processes that enable our teams to expect and react to the unexpected. When we get that purchase order, when you get that client request, when you get that work order in the production shop, when you're out at the customer facility trying to do an installation and components are missing, what do you do? How do you do that? How do you create robust systems that enable your team to perform by expecting the unexpected? And this is one of the things that I'm super passionate about. I'm having so much fun talking to people about, because when organizations create processes, what they often do is they start taking each individual person in their organization or each role, and they say, all right, you're responsible. Go document the way you post transactions. Go document the way that you close the books at month end. Go document the way you set up this piece of equipment. I'll give another example of a client that when I first started working with them, we were talking about how they set up their pieces of equipment, how the operators set up their pieces of equipment. And they were talking about things like the unlevel evenness of their floors, and how that could impact the way that they set up different jobs. And while that's true, that's absolutely true. But one of the things that we started seeing while we went and started looking at the way the process is flowing and the way the process works of setting up the equipment, there were lots of assumptions and miscommunications that were happening. So while I can't go and solve the levelness of the floor at all places within a factory, and while most of you can't do that either, because it would require shutting down production and re-leveling all your floors and all these things. The thing we can do is look at the communication and handoffs between team members and the expectations and the assumptions that are made. And when those don't match, what happens? What do people actually do in real life? What does your team actually do when the assumption that they have and the information they have doesn't match with their experience? What do they do? So expecting the unexpected when it comes to processes and communication and expectations is really critical for organizations. And if I could just give one small example of kind of what happened there, as we were looking at it, and we were having this huge discussion with a handful of folks in the organization about the assumptions of what their what the expectations were of the assumptions that were being made by the people upstream. They said, well, there's lots of variables and I don't know. And so we asked the question, what if we just started every time at the same distance? What if we started every time at 5 inches? If we just made that a standard for everybody, that this is the assumption that the people upstream are making, this is where you're going to start every time, unless you see something that needs to change. And that simple point, that simple clarity and alignment and agreement completely changed the conversations and discussions that we were having, that this is the standard unless something changes. Prior to that discussion, the standard was, I don't know what they're assuming, so I'll just set it up the way I think I should set it up. But I think they should have an assumption, but I don't know what it is. And there was all this back and forth discussion. And so anytime, so the standard became start with 5 inches unless there's a change from the assumptions, right? Unless we should, sorry, I dropped my sign on the floor here, right? Unless we should expect the unexpected. Is there something different from the standard? Then it should be communicated, and then I should know what to do. And that small change has made some dramatic impact on the overall communication, the overall flow, the overall expectations of the handoffs between those departments. It's not perfect. It's certainly not the only thing that was done or that needed to be done, but it's one element. When we build robust processes that enable us to expect the unexpected, to adapt and adjust, and we provide the right framework, the right training for each person along the way, why do we do the things we do? Asking that question, enabling them to take it a step further and be able to have the ability to adjust on the fly. Those are the types of robust systems that we need to make in our organizations in order for our teams to be more successful. And this is what we call optics. The concept of optics, the system that I've been working on and refining and dreaming up and working through, is really about not just looking at individual processes in an individual role or department, but it's about taking a look at the system, taking a look at the workflow of how things are handed off. And this could happen 20, 30, 40 times within an organization. I've got some clients that have 40 core processes like this, where we've looked at systems within their organization of handoffs between departments. And at the end, it comes together in a way that people can see it and people have a framework in which to operate. And that's exactly what we're talking about when we're talking about optics. So I would love to hear some of your stories. We have this new podcast, Optics in Action, where we spotlight leaders with vision and clarity. And I would be so honored if folks want to learn more, you can go to opticsinaction.com. And there you'll be able to apply to be a guest on the show. You'll be able to see episodes of the podcast. We had a real life rocket scientist on there. We've had a number of different business leaders. We've got about 12 episodes already queued up. I'm super excited about, and we look forward to your feedback and look forward to engaging with you all further. So take care, everyone. Have a great week.